I don't know, you might think this is going to look
Here we
cooler
go.
than it actually looks when all said and done.
Looks what?
You might think this is cooler before you actually see it. When you see it, you may say, I'd never put this online.
Be careful, it's going up. We're rolling. Let's see, gotta get my... It's still close enough for New Year's Eve, I think.
Sure.
Pretty hot. Okie dokie. I think we're ready to roll.
Sure.
Well, good morning. Welcome back to the old KOHI Garden Spot. Master Gardener Darrell Boom here with Chip Bugle out of the OSU County Extension Service right here in St. Helens. And Chip, before we went to break, we were talking about planting Douglas firs. And there's a quick note on here about protecting them from deer. And as I recall, I didn't have a problem with ours was sitting on the pasture. We didn't have a problem at all with Douglas firs. Other things like cypress and what deer seem to like.
Yeah. You know, and you may have just gotten lucky in that circumstance. Douglas fir will be grazed. Western red cedar is grazed heavily. So the key thing on those are to either protect them with something physical. You can buy these plastic tubes to put around the transplants, or a mesh thing called a Vexar tube. But the most common thing people do is they spray them with deer repellents. And there's things like Deer Away and several varieties out there that actually seem to work reasonably well if you put on the sprays in early spring and then keep them up through the first couple of years periodically. And that seems to help quite a bit.
Alrighty, well, let's continue on with some of the questions you've been getting this time of year. And if somebody wanted to plant, like, here's a question: what sort of fruits can be planted in this area at this time? So let's talk about that a little
Well,
bit.
the most common things people plant are the cherries, pears, apples. By far, apples are by far the most common. There's a great desire to plant peaches, but peaches are a challenge to grow. They have some diseases that affect the long-term viability of the tree itself, and they're just a big-time challenge, but not impossible. We've had both commercial peach production and some home gardeners very successful with them, but they are tough. So what are some things that people don't appreciate or don't grow as much as they could and would appreciate if they were growing? I think the European plums are a great example. The old Brooks plum or the Italian plum, those are excellent fruit for our area.
Yeah, plums do very well around here.
They do very well. And the Japanese plums are a little bit earlier blooming and a little bit earlier fruiting, but a lot of them do excellent as well. Figs, surprisingly.
Figs, yes.
Figs do very well. There's
I can attest to.
Yeah, there's a variety called Desert King that is absolutely exceptional for our area. It's a consistent fruiter in the mid-August time period, so it's a wonderful, wonderful crop. Other fruits that people are looking at, the persimmons, especially the Japanese type persimmons, Chinese persimmons, are excellent for our area. They're a small tree, a very attractive tree, and a wonderful tree to grow. And then quinces are another tree that are underappreciated. The quince fruit has to be processed, but it's excellent flavor, excellent quality, and a very easy tree to grow, and a very attractive tree as well. Great bloom in the springtime, and again, a nicely shaped tree.
Okay, you talked about this is a good time. I assume that the nurseries are having them come in.
Nurseries
now?
start getting them in. They're basically dug out of the ground last October, November, and they've been in cold storage for a couple of months, right? And then they come out of cold storage and start being shipped to the retail nurseries about between, say, the middle to end of January. The first shipments start, and they ramp up into February and March. But what I've found is often the best quality of the bare root trees, if you can get in there early, you can find the ones that really look good. The longer they've sat there, the more other people have looked at them and rejected them. So
is that how you shop for them? If they look good, you buy them?
Right, pretty much. And you're looking for a nice spacing of branches around the main trunk. You're looking for good branch ankles at about 45 degrees. You can, when you look through a bunch of, say, 10 trees, you can pretty well pick out the 5 or 6 really good ones, and then there'll be 3 that are pretty much acceptable, or 4 pretty much acceptable, and there might be one that's kind of the way it was structured and grown, the way it turned out isn't maybe top notch.
This is an interesting note, and one I would never think about, and that's pollination of the fruit itself. I just think, well, you plant a tree and some bees kind of fly, but that's not necessarily true.
It isn't necessarily true. Apples especially need a pollinizer, and so if you are in an isolated area and there's no one around you with no other apple trees, then it's a critical thing to have.
Hmm.
If you've got other people around you that have apple trees, then you're probably for pollination going to be all right. It's not going to be as big a deal.
Do you need the same type of tree?
Well,
or
no,
how does that
well, you
work?
need two different species. So you can't use two red delicious to pollinate each other. It has to be a red delicious and a Brayburn, or a red delicious and a Melrose, or a red delicious and an Akani, or something like that. So
Oh.
you have to have, it's a long story, but there's a
Yeah.
pollen incompatibility between the varieties, and so you have to have two distinct varieties to pollinate each other.
No, the nursery would help you with that,
The
or they
nursery,
could call
the
your
nursery
office,
will
right?
help with that, or they can call my office, or any homeowner can call my office and we can talk about it.
Yeah.
European plums don't need a pollinizer. Sour cherries don't need a pollinizer. Sweet cherries do, although there are now some sweet cherry varieties that are self-pollinating and don't need a pollinizer.
Huh.
There's a variety called Stella, which is self-fertile and is a wonderful sweet cherry and
Wow.
fairly disease resistant. So there are some options. Anyway, for listeners that are interested, they feel free to call my office and be happy to visit with them.
Well, Chip, time's flown by. There's snow to do here on the old KOHI garden spot. Just quickly in closing, we've been talking so much about fruit trees, and I know you always talk about fruit sprays. We're kind of getting close to that time for spraying your fruit trees, are we not?
Any dry day right now that you can spray a copper spray or lime sulfur on your fruit trees, this is the right time to do it.
Sounds good. Well, Chip, thanks for dropping by. We appreciate our listeners tuning in. We hope they catch us next week right here on the old KOHI garden spot. That's a wrap.
I'm gonna go get a glass of water for a second.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds good. I can't. I'm not sure I can say I can't wait.